pushing to get rules done to tighten border security and to basically push back on illegal immigration. Now, he's trying to cut a deal with top Democrats, including Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, over illegal immigration and border security, but they are balking. Mr. Schumer saying, quote, "We told the president at our meeting that we were open to reasonable border security measures alongside the DREAM Act, but this list that he wants goes so far beyond what is reasonable, fails to represent any attempt at compromise." President Trump's new terms would tie any deal that would help the roughly 800,000 illegal immigrants who came here as children, otherwise known as dreamers. It would be tied with a crackdown that he wants on sanctuary cities, illegal immigration, including funding for a border wall, speedier deportations, and hiring thousands of new immigration officials. Let's take this to the political power panel. Bree Payton from The Federalist and liberal commentator Wendy Osefo join me now. Good to see you two.
Hello,
Thanks
Liz.
for having me.
Bree, what do you think of Democrats balking at the president's new deal for tougher border security?
Yeah, I guess I'm really, I can't understand it. I don't know exactly what they were expecting. These are all things that the president promised numerous times on the campaign trail over and over again, right? He said that he would build a border wall. He said that he would be cracking down on sanctuary cities. So, I mean, for Democrats to act like this is a huge surprise and totally came out of left field is really confusing to me. And I think it indicates just really a lack of any sort of understanding or realistic expectations on behalf of Democrats, which is kind of unfortunate because I think with this administration, they could get a lot further if they're willing to compromise and work with the president, you know, and understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, President Obama took the DACA action. Many said it was a constitutional overreach. Wendy, I'd like your thoughts on White House senior advisor Kellyanne Conway defending the president's immigration policy. Let's take a listen.
They should actually be calling their friends Chuck and Nancy to say, you know, are you going to give up this deal because you don't want to, why don't you want a border wall constructed? Why don't you want more immigration judges and agents? And why isn't a reasonable policy to limit chain migration? And also to stop these visa overstays and to make sure people that are flouting the law once they're here, breaking the law once they're here, go back.
You know, the last part, Wendy, I think Kellyanne is saying, what is so unreasonable about enforcing the law that politicians like Pelosi and Chuck Schumer helped to write?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with enforcing that particular law. But what I think that is very unreasonable is for the president to come with all of his standards, everything in which he promised during the election, and say, you know what, I'm trying to compromise with you. No, you're not trying to compromise. What you're trying to do is put forth everything in which you said you were going to do. A compromise means you give a little and you take a little. And right now, the president is not doing that. So in order for us to come together in a bipartisan manner and move forward what I think would be a good immigration bill, we have to listen to
yes
the Democrats.
To DACA. He's saying, right, Bree, he's saying yes to DACA.
But he's saying no to the wall.
I hear that, but he's basically laying out a beachhead. This is his deal, right?
Yeah. Well, he knows he can't deport 800,000 people. It's not feasible to do that, and he knows that. And he's trying to work with them and saying, look, let's figure out a compromise to be able to let them stay here. These are things I promised that I need to make good on, that I need to do. I think it totally makes sense. And I think we need to call a spade a spade. DACA is not about helping those kids at all. I mean, even with DACA, they still have to live here as second-class citizens in this country. It doesn't give them full immigration. They're not allowed.
But they wouldn't be deported.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Okay, it lets them live here, but they still have to live in like this quasi not fully citizen state, and they're constantly afraid of that the next president is going to make changes.
I hear what you're saying. I'll the other side of that, they would say, you know, deporting them to Central America where they could be killed.
Absolutely.
That's the fight. That is the debate. But we want to move on. Iran's Revolutionary Guard threatening to attack the U.S. military. President Trump labels them terrorists. The chief of Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guard also saying the U.S. should move its military bases farther away from Iran's borders if it imposes new sanctions against Tehran. Now, Wendy, is this further proof the Iran deal was a bad deal? I mean, how seriously should we take this threat?
I think we should take any threat to our democracy, you know, highly serious. And I think that this threat, you know, meets that standard. However, I believe that we need to make pivots. Just like I've said on your show many times when it comes to Obamacare, it's not void of errors. And I think the Iran deal also falls under that category. There's definitely pivots that need to be made. And I think that the president also has to be mindful of his words and the words that he uses, because he doesn't want to antagonize any hostile power. We want to do this in a diplomatic way. So again, we can renegotiate, but again, we should not basically poke at the bear and say, hey, we want you to bite us, because that's not what we want.
Bree, a quick 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for the president to talk tough. I mean, this is a chance. It's about to be decertified unless the president decides to renegotiate and make a better deal. I think it's very clear Iran is throwing a tantrum, and it goes to show that they were never really interested in diplomatic discussions to begin with.
Thank you, Bree and Wendy. We'll see you both later again in the show.
Thank you.
Next up, let's check your money. Markets closing in the red. The Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500 all down. The stock
Call 800-573-8780. That's 800-573-8780.
A PR disaster for Dove, the beauty products company. Outraged consumers after Dove posted this commercial on social media. The offending ad was a 3-second advertisement hawking Dove body wash. They called it "Ready for a Dove Shower." Now, it shows a looping image of an African-American woman removing a dark brown T-shirt to reveal a white woman. The white woman then removes her beige T-shirt to show it looks like an Asian woman. Dove has since yanked the ad, but people downloaded and caught it and put it on social media. Dutch-British consumer goods company Unilever owns Dove. The stock closed the day slightly in the green. Let's bring back Ash. We got Wendy, Osefo, and Bree Payton with us now. Wendy, what was your reaction to that ad?
Oh my goodness, this is a PR disaster and it is a nightmare. And the ad is racially insensitive. It has undertones of other soap commercials that we saw many, many years ago, where you have this type of thought that you wash off black, which is significant because it's saying that black is dirty and then white is clean. So this was a big miss here. They completely dropped the ball. I wonder who was in the boardroom to say this was okay.
Yeah.
But it was highly offensive.
Or how did it even get out there? I mean, Bree, Dove responded on Twitter saying an image we recently posted on Facebook missed the mark in representing women of color thoughtfully. We deeply regret the offense it caused. How did this even get out of the company or even off the advertising planning boards?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, this ad is pretty terrible and shocking. I mean, anyone looking at it once would realize that this was a horrible idea. And I'm especially surprised that this is coming from Dove. I mean, this is a company that is always trying to convince us about how woke they are and how politically correct they are about every other issue. So I am really surprised to see this coming especially from them.
All right.
Not surprised. They've done this before in 2011.
That's right. Let's get on.
True.
We've got to move on. A viral video, an irate man he jumps onto the hood of a moving school bus. Watch.
Get off the bus.
That was posted to Facebook. Wendy, what was your reaction to this video?
You know, we just have to really start looking at issues around mental illness, because this gentleman, if he was allowed into the school bus, what was his intent here? What was he trying to do? Even if he claims that a bottle was thrown from the school bus, these are middle school children. You know, this is not something that is necessarily nefarious.
We got to wrap it. Bree, what's your reaction? Quickly, 10 seconds. I mean, this took off on social media. Go ahead.
I think we should commend the bus driver who didn't let this guy board the bus. I mean, this is clearly pretty crazy, and he protected the kids.
Yeah, this happened in Baltimore. Bree and Wendy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, did you make money today? You're going to find out after